What's up, sir? I know. What am I supposed to do? More is less. No, the opposite of that. Son of a... Well, I don't know. I can go sign up for like 3 weeks after this, I think. Theoretically. Fun and profit. Hardly, good morning. Welcome.
Oppositional reduction is inadequate, insufficient, and it's groping for the closest thing at hand. The closest thing at hand is what technology makes salient to it, which is power. And we have to go deeper. We have to say, no, there's a place for that. And your situational awareness,
the states of consciousness you get access to, ultimately depend on your character.
Well, that's a lot to swallow.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to scuttle back to my power claim.
I didn't mean to dump so much.
No. Well, no, not at all. And that the question isn't sophisticated enough, you know.
Yes.
And so I phrased it as an adversarial hypothesis, as a satanic hypothesis, essentially. The West is possessed by this satanic demand for power, and that's its characteristic spirit. And I don't believe that. That is a contamination which occurs repeatedly. Characters in that drama who are motivated primarily by Philia, so Philia Nikeia. But you see Philia, Sophia emerge between them. One leads to the other. And that seems to be related to your wrestling art.
His kingdom soon stretched to an empire, which encouraged children to never grow up and told adults they never had to leave. Unlike the kingdoms of old, this territory didn't require a dangerous and grueling pilgrimage for a chance to enter its gates. This empire was accessed through the mind. As the decades passed, the night seemed longer as the looming shadow blanketed generations, societies, and nations. And alongside it, the magical Happy Kingdom found its way into every television, onto nursery walls, and within classrooms. Most thought nothing of it, and who could blame them? They'd never been outside the paddock, distracted.
I've been studying Buddhism, and any Buddhists out there, if I fuck this up, I'm sorry if you're more advanced or know more about it. So I'm probably going to say the words wrong and stuff. It's really interesting.
Washington, D.C. pizzeria in search of children he believed were being held as sex slaves by Democratic Party leaders.
The often discredited Pizzagate. Well, that's because that's the shooter. 1242. Isn't that funny? The alleged Pizzagate gunman. I think, you know, if you don't know, he's got the full 3 name.
Hey everybody. This is for the people who aren't here yet and are watching the video afterwards. You should press that bell so when I do this, you know immediately and can say stuff. I was just out in my car practicing the live streaming because, you know, I'm trying to get into this YouTuber thing, right? And it's funny because people say, oh, I'm going to sue you. Just like forward their videos that have to the police because there's distracted driver laws all over the place. You want to get... Anyway,
That is the message that you are trying to give to yourself. You are each trying to rediscover for yourselves in your terms now after centuries of myths and distortions the validity of your own beings. I ask you not to trust the validity of my being, which is none of your concern, but to trust the validity of your being, which is very much of your concern.
That was probably too much. I'll have to edit that for copyright. Fuckers.
Digital campfire. Weird because it breaks a lot of the social grammar. Your face is very large for me right now. No. That's the point. Mine is for you too, or for the viewers. I just met you. This is inappropriate intimacy. But the thing, all of that, no, it's thrown away. Its own grammar. At Rosano, the campfires, people are lit. It's like what you have in a circle.
Right.
Something very primordial, but it's also using it in this really novel way. Socrates is very critical. Of course, the problem with that is it's intended. You're supposed to pay attention to that. That divide has been transcended, but it's also recorded with people moving between these conversations beyond that divide. It affords something really new in how we can interact with each other.
It's a really interesting playground, kind of postmodern tendencies with trial by fire, everything goes. And also searching for the connective tissue, right? That's very well said. That's briefly being embedded within it. It's been quite wonderful to watch the direct impact it's had on individual lives. At the bonfire, we can sit and play music, right?
Right.
And with the people who have done such good work like yourself, who've put it into the medium, filtered down into the minds and the mouths of the people, and then we gather in small groups.
Oh, this is wonderful.
And recovered gems, little moments. Aha! This is what I've been doing my life.
I will discuss the rainbow covenant of human needs and how our human needs can be divided into 7 layers of prioritization or intensity or harmony, and how those can be inverted. Thank you for joining us on this knowledge exploration together. I might be completely full of Hi, everybody. Greetings. We're doing the new thing. Okay, so the thing is the rainbow covenant of human needs. Let's use crayons, shall we? Okie dokie. First, we have survival. The human need to survive. As a good example of this one, I usually tie it to breathing because it's known as the root chakra, and that's where your dirty parts are as far as I can tell. And the thing there is, right, is survive, which means like on a genetic level. So like if you're bleeding out, you might still choose sex for genetic reasons. Because survive. Okay, come on, faster, survive. All right, and then we have raw orange. You know, the English people apparently have somebody other than Roy G. Biv to tell them what the rainbow is. Orange is like your internal what? Are you starving? Do you know if you're starving? Yeah, because your orange stuff will tell you. In the rainbow covenant of human needs. This is like, let's call it the desire for homeostasis, the internal integrity, your, like, whether or not your hum. It's your internal hum, and if it's out of tune, like you're hungry, you're thirsty, you're tired, or like this, your internal system's integrity, I don't know. They say it better, I'm sure. But anyway, it's your insides. How your insides are all humming together beautifully. It's part of the rainbow covenant of human needs. Totally not the chakras. That's not what I'm talking about. That's woo, guys. This is the rainbow covenant of human needs. And this is the social layer here. Wee! Wasn't that fun, everyone? going back in time together, catching everybody up on the craziness. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I was pleased to discover that women had developed an alternative to the hero kills the villain and rescues the victim plot. One with no real villains or victims, just heroes. This mode of heroism seemed to offer hope that there is a form of heroism that can not only bring new life to us all, but do it in an equalitarian way. However, this mode of heroism could never fully blossom if only one sex seemed to know about it. While I observed all around me women optimistically playing out a hero script, most men I knew were acting out the old hero-villain-victim one. Men who could not be the hero in that old definition found the only other role available to them was the victim or anti-hero. But then I noticed some men and some male characters in literature who had also discovered the hero plot and were feeling fully alive, joyous, and heroic in acting it out. I began to recognize that men and women go through, albeit in somewhat different forms, and sometimes in a slightly different order, the same basic stages of growth in claiming their heroine. And ultimately, for both, heroine is a matter of integrity, of becoming more and more themselves at each stage of their development. Paradoxically, there are archetypal patterns that govern the process each of us goes through to discover our uniqueness. So we are always both very particularly ourselves and very much like one another in the stages of our journeys. In fact, there is a rather predictable sequence of human development presided over respectively by the archetypes of the innocent, the orphan, the wanderer, the warrior, the martyr, and the magician. Even though our culture has encouraged men and women to identify with them differently. That's from something, the Hero Within PDF that's in the archives on the Broken Clock Tower Discord, if you have earned enough access by manifesting as a mostly real person, or a resonant person, or maybe even a trustee. If I can tell you're actually a person, you'll be given the denizen role, which is like acceptance. Virtual acceptance in our virtually not aloneness in this Weemaway network. Good morning, Chad. Fragmented Chad, whichever piece of you arrived. What would you do if I sang this to you? Would it make your morning grand? See the sun rise while you still can. 'Cause you never know how much time you have left. You're alive. At the magician's level, however, dualities begin to break down. The orphan's fear of pain and suffering is seen as the inevitable underside of a definition of safety that assumes that life should only be pleasurable and easy. Magicians believe that in fact we are safe, even though we often experience pain and suffering. They are part of life, and ultimately we are all held in God's hand. Similarly, magicians see that it is an unbalanced focus on giving that creates selfishness. The task is not to be caring of others instead of thinking about oneself, but to learn how to love and care for ourselves as well as our neighbor. Magicians see beyond the notion of individualism versus conformity to the knowledge that we are are unique and we are all one. Beyond strength versus weakness, they come to understand that assertion and receptivity are yang and yin, a life rhythm. Rhythm. Not a dualism. Finally, they know that it is not even possible to be inauthentic, for we can be only who we are. Inevitably, we do take our rightful place in the universe. The Hive Mind chat is saying stuff. I'm going to read it now while I hum. Okay, so once upon a time, I infiltrated a circling experiment. And so there was these other people there, right? And I pointed out, like, sometimes people say right to get you used to agreeing to what they're saying so they can slip stuff in, right? And now I feel as though I should also enact the watch for should. People saying should are out of alignment as far as I'm concerned. But that's so since everybody read Harry Potter, Defense Against the Dark Arts class is resonant to a huge base that understands that magic and muggle references already. And it's like the things your dada should have taught you, so it works out great. But we have to figure out what that is. We have to figure out the mask that we should slap on the face of every 14-year-old male, what that should contain. And I think that if we all spent some time doing that and sharing that and asking dads about that, we could come up with something that might help some people and feel like we were all a part of something. I don't know, the Aliens project is stalled. I have to launch something else. So the Mask of the Gods we need to make, like according to that Joseph Campbell clip I played previously on Gringriss. Okay, so it is a trap, but you can play along if you make your if you make your savings throws. Have a wonderful morning, everyone. Thank you for being alive and here and listening. A weem away. Blue glow. Tomorrow night. Ready? A weem away. 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 A weem away.